Hello and welcome to the conversation. You're with India Post Live, India's first news conversation web TV. Before we get into what we are going to talk about today, I'd like to remind everyone about a new wacky game that we've developed. It's of course on the elections, and if you are one of those political animals, this is the game for you. The game is called Choose Your Neta, and you can choose between Arvind Kejriwal, Narendra Modi, and Rahul Gandhi, and get as many votes as you want for your favorite party or your neta. So just log into our site and drive your favorite neta's van to as many votes as you can. Well, coming back, today we have a very interesting topic to discuss. We are going to discuss about the Muzaffarnagar riots, the riots that happened in Western UP, and we have an upcoming film on that subject. And joining us today is Meera Chaudhary, of course, who is the co-director of a film that's called In Dino Muzaffarnagar. And of course, we have Professor Devakar joining us, who's a professor on film. So we'll be discussing that. We'll also have some people joining us on Skype. But I'd like to start with you, Meera, first. What what was the reason that you decided to make this movie that too so early?
See, it is not that early we decided to make the film. When the riots happened, we started shooting after 1 month of it. But in between that time, we were thinking to make a film because I belong to that area. There was this curiosity. I have seen people there. I have seen Muslims there, Hindus there. And I have never seen them fighting. There's no profound history of riots in that area. So there was this curiosity, and that's how we decided to go there and to find out, to explore what actually happened there, what transpired there, conspired there. So we went there and did the shoot.
But isn't there a general perception that, in Western UP, tempers run high? We've seen these type of things earlier, isn't it?
No. In Western UP, yes, in Meerut, some riots happened, but that was in 80s. It was long time back.
Okay.
But in Muzaffarnagar, it is known as Mohabbat Nagar because during the time of the partition, and since that time, no riots had happened over there.
Okay. So I'd like to bring you in. I mean, such issues, where there's a lot of conflict which is involved. How does one tackle it, especially if you have to make a film on these things?
Well, you see, as a filmmaker, one ought to give it a very unbiased opinion. I mean, but then, the crux of the matter is that the filmmaker, being a sensitive human being, will necessarily have to take a stand, because that's what the filmmaking is all about, particularly when it's a documentary and you're documenting facts. Then the facts are supposed to be exposed without adulterating them. It has to be, it needs to be exposed as it is.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just have a look at some of the excerpts of the film that Meera has kindly agreed to share with us, and then we'll resume the conversation.
नो मैम, ऐसा तो नहीं है कुछ। मतलब हिंदू भी बहुत बदतमीज हैं, और खासकर ये जो जेंट्स लोग होते हैं बड़े बड़े, जैसे साइकिल वाइकिल पे जाते हैं, छेड़खानी तो करते ही हैं।
हिंदू मुसलमान कोई नहीं है तो सब कोई छेड़ दे, चाहे हिंदू हो या मुसलमान हो, जो भी अकेली लड़की मिली इधर उधर सबको छेड़ रहे हैं।
होता लड़की आती हैं, लड़के तंज करते हैं, उल्टी सीधे बच्चा कसते हैं उन्हें। ये लड़के सामाजिक तत्व हैं जो मतलब कहने का अपने आप को बहुत बड़े गुंडे कहलाते हैं। ऐसा है, ना तो हिंदू लड़के हैं ना मुसलमान लड़के हैं। ये जो लड़के मुसलमान भी हैं हिंदू भी हैं, ये सभी तरह के, सभी कौम के हैं, सभी बिरादरी के हैं।
Okay, so from those pictures, I think it's more about the eve teasing bit, because we've seen quite a lot of these incidents happening. In fact, the whole riots are believed to have started because of that. So, what were your first impressions when you went and saw it?
When we went there, we came to know from people that there's a lot of eve teasing incidents, especially Jats and Hindus. They said that there is a rise in eve teasing incidents, and all this is done by Muslim boys. So this was said by the local BJP leaders, and at one point of time we also thought that it must be there must be some truth. So in the end of our shooting, we went to ask the girls there randomly that is it true? Is there any truth in this? And we asked to the people, and they said that both the Muslims and Hindus are doing it. You can't make out who is doing it. So none of the girl, none of the boy we interviewed said that only Muslims are doing it under some agenda or under the love jihad which they are campaigning.
So, would you agree with what she's saying? I mean, you teach a lot of young kids.
Yes, I mean it's very difficult to perhaps maybe in Western UP, because it's not such an urbanized place. There is ample opportunity for this kind of a thing, because the moral policing is probably at its minimum level. So
Yeah.
there is a chances for things like this to happen.
I've heard stories about boys going to college, and if they talk to some girl randomly, then after college gets over, some other guy will come and say, "Why were you talking to her? She's mine." And he has no contact with that girl, but he'll make sure that no one else talks to her.
Yeah.
So I think stuff like that just probably adds to these sort of tensions that we're seeing.
Yes, these things happened with the, whenever a Muslim boy interacted with a Hindu girl. So these issues were rigged up like anything. It's not a matter, it's not an issue at all when two people from different communities are talking. But these issues were rigged up like anything. For instance, we have documented some incident which were very small incidents, and they were made big by BJP. One was the Soram Kand. The Soram is one of the biggest village of this area and dominated by both Muslims and Jats. And it is having some, historical monuments also. So what happened there, one Muslim girl was going with her brother, and she was eve teased by the Jat boys of the same village. And then there was some fight between Hindu boys and Muslim boys on that issue. So this issue was made big, and nowhere it came to limelight that a Muslim girl was eve teased. It was that this issue was campaigned as if Muslim boys are beating Hindu boys.
Sir, I believe you also made a movie on the Godhra riots,
That's
2002.
true. Yes.
So even there, sir, the real cause of the flare-up of why that happened, that is still not clear. I mean,
Yeah, that's still not clear. But then, what came to light are the things like the Best Bakery, and also a pregnant woman was raped, and things like that. I mean, see, I think this kind of a when it comes to power, and I think one of the ways of trying to show that the male power is stronger is no way. I mean, it's pitiable that they choose the sexual route for this kind of a thing. Just to establish that they are more powerful. But it's most unfortunate.
We've seen a lot of movies are coming on these, but I mean, as someone who's uh, seen so many films, what are the basics that I mean, does a film have to be balanced? Does it have to be objective, or does it have to focus really on emotion to try and send that message across?
No, I don't think. I mean, you see, you can. I mean, in the problem in films is that you see they encash on the whole thing by actually showing this incident, whereas you can have a discussion. You can have so many things to do with it by not actually showing the real event. You see, because for them, they think that it is it's a selling point, like to show a woman's thigh or to show her cleavage. That is what draws the crowd. Now they encash on things like this, so they try and depict the actual event, which is actually not the real thing. It is the surrounding reactions that are more, I think, which either inflate a lot of passions and things like that, which is actually to be taken into account. But then what has generally been seen is that in most films, they like in that film Insaf Ka Tarazu and so many other films, they try and depict as much of the actual event as they can.
Perhaps they do it even more than what
Yeah,
it is. So,
it's always exaggerated. It's exaggerated for an effect. It's exaggerated to draw in the crowd, to the mass, to create a mass appeal. But I don't know how it actually does it really create a mass appeal.
Meera, from this film, what is the message that you would want to convey through the film?
See, by after seeing this film, people will come to know what happened there. So, the message is that common man has nothing to do with the rights, even though they are involved in it. But for a farmer, this Muzaffarnagar region is dominated by farmers, and they have their own problems. So the message that goes out from this film is that riots affected their economy, riots affected their occupation, affected everything. The farmers,
Yeah, their
yes,
livelihood.
their livelihood was affected badly, and they didn't get their dues from the mill owners. They also took the advantage of that. So
Okay.
it's really sad that area where farmers are already struggling because of riots, their struggle
Okay.
It becomes much more severe.
becomes more severe.
Talking about livelihood, we have senior journalist Asha joining us. Asha Khosa has also been to Muzaffarnagar recently to see. Asha, Meera is saying that the point that she wants to come out from a movie is the fact that riots don't help anyone. What is the kind of situation you saw when you went to Muzaffarnagar?
Well, Meera is right in saying that it doesn't help anyone, and lives are shattered because of riots. And there are a few politicians who are playing the games and who seek to benefit from it. When I visited Muzaffarnagar, which was good, it was my second visit to that place. One was immediately after the riots. Then, of course, things were very hot and tempers were running very high, and one couldn't find out the truth. But later, 3 months later, I revisited the place. We went to the camps and met people, talked to them. Then I realized that the people there who are victims of this riot, they are being taken for a ride. I mean, there was a guy who had basically these people, the Muslims who were in the camp, they wanted to go back to their villages because that was the inside desire. That was deep down in their minds, they wanted to go back because the economic structure of those villages is such that there is a landlord who is generally a Jat, and there are workers, agricultural workers who are by and large Muslims. So there is a symbiotic relationship with them, and that translated into a political equation as well. But that equation had got shattered. So in the hearts of hearts, people wanted to go back, and there were people who were obviously the people who had a motive. They kept them away. They said, "But you cannot go back," and they motivated them. They were doing a very fine game. They were telling them, no, now is the time to make it a new life. You cannot go back to the same people. And there were some people attempts to bring the communities together, but those are very feeble attempts, and those communities could never get together. What I saw personally there, I have covered Kashmir, I've seen the tension in the Muslim. But I, as a journalist, came to understand why there is no serious peacemaking in this country.
Okay.
Where there are no serious peacemakers who come to places like Muzaffarnagar and try to bring two communities together. There was none in Muzaffarnagar when I visited there.
Okay, okay. She's talking about, the absence of peacemakers, of the healing touch.
Yeah, exactly.
Sir,
It is there.
if we talk about the healing touch, do you see films playing an important role in trying to bring about that touch?
Well, I would, there are a lot of, I mean, right now, I don't see how a film can actually help in the whole process. But I would like to suggest bring in another point here, which is, we have centers like the Nelson Mandela Center for Peace and Conflict Studies in Jamia. Organizations like that, they can take a mission there. They can, a group of people go there, start interacting with the people. And I think because that's a place where people from both communities can be part of that mission, and they individually go and talk to the community leaders and kind of bring them together and have a discussion, which means they have to, the party which goes there will have to stay there for 3 or 4 days. And to make an attempt to bring them together, make them shake hands, and like when little children fight, the class teacher intervenes and kind of sorts out. So something like that has to happen, and then also they need to be insulated against the politicians who are milking off the whole thing.
Insulation. I mean, Meera, when you went there, is the divide too deep for them to come back?
Yes, I think the divide is too deep. In fact, in those villages where riots happened and people died, people don't want to go back to those villages. But a very important part of our film is dedicated to those people who have actually, tried to bring peace when the riots were going on. Apart from these 6 or 7 villages, there are 200 odd villages where people tried, the pradhans of those villages, they tried to bring those people together. They maintained that Muslims remain in their village safely, and they provided a lot of safety during that time. So these efforts were made by people around those villages, and we have taken their interviews. We have taken the interviews of Muslims there. But yes, those people who are affected badly by the riots, they don't want to go there.
Okay, Asha, unsung heroes. I mean, in your 2 trips, did you find any unsung heroes, the ones that Meera is talking about?
Yes, certainly. I remember we met a Pradhan. I don't know whether she is referring to the same person. In the village, where the riots took place, where that Muslim guy was first killed, or whatever. There are 2 versions of the story. So the Pradhan had made attempt, his family had made attempt, and they tried to bring some peace. And there was, I remember one Muslim Haji, they used to call him, he was trying to tell people no. He kept Muslims calm. And on the other hand, the Pradhan tried to bring peace to what a small area. His influence was not so much. But of course, there were, as I said earlier, there were people attempts, individualistic attempts. Another thing I want to point out, Sanjeev, is that generally the right victims were quite happy about the police action. They were saying that, if police had not acted, or had they acted in a partisan manner, we all would have been killed on that night when they were rescued. And some of them had, a word of praise for policemen. They said, in the hail of bullets, some of them told me, in the hail of bullets, we were rescued from our villages because apparently they feared that to probably for a massacre or something. They feared.
Asha, I think there's some audio issue. We're not being able to hear you properly. The last bit you were telling us about the policeman. Can you just repeat that?
Well, yes, I was telling you about this, the right victims, what they told me in the camps. They had a lot of they praised police people like anything. According to them, police acted by and large in a partisan manner, and these right victims told me that had police not acted properly, or in a neutral manner, we all would have probably been killed. It seems police had the whiff of what is going to happen, and also there were some couple of distress calls which were made to police, and police responded very well. So administration had played a positive role. This I'm quoting, the right victims themselves, and that I was happy to know that we have come to a state when a state like UP, police is acting quite neutrally.
Okay, Meera, I'd like to bring you in. Do you agree with what Asha is saying?
Well, I'll little, differ from her because the cases that we have come across in those villages, we found out that police came there, but they were calling, when the riots started, they were calling their relatives, some of them who were having SHO's number of the nearby police station, they were calling them, but police reached there very late. And later on, yes, police helped them. Obviously, when police will reach there, they brought out all the people outside those villages. But they were not happy with the administration. They were not happy with the Mulayam Singh government because everything was delayed. Around say 70-80 people died in this process. They could have stopped it, and this atmosphere was building up for the past 10 days when this Kawal incident happened. Such a long time this administration took, and that too in that time they were not able to stop the panchayats happening, and riots happened.
Okay, but if you look in totality, I mean, because the feedback that I also got from Muzaffarnagar later on was the fact that, they were not very critical of the administration. So, I mean, if you look in totality, I mean, few cases here and there will always happen. But if you look in totality, what was the sort of, impression that you got? Late action police, I mean, we've seen it in the movies, they always come late. But apart from that, was there some redeeming feature about the police later on that they did something like that?
Yes, there are some statements by the victims where they are saying that police people, when the police came to the village, I think it was the case of Lisar village, when police came there, and there were 4 or 5 policemen. Out of them, one was Muslim. So Muslim was helping them out, but the Hindu policemen, they said those all the other Hindus who were there. They said that we asked you, we gave you so much time, but you have killed only 2 and 3 people. So such statements, when we come across such statements from the victims, and they are telling it very logically, so I think it's hard to believe that administration played right kind of role in it.
Sir, I'd like to bring you in.
This reminds me of the situation in Godhra, because what happened there was, the people there, when we actually went into the villages, they were telling us that the police came late, as usual, and then the fire engines came and they had no water, and they were in the process of trying to collect the water. They were taking a lot of time, so that they allowed everything to be reduced to embers. So, I think had the police actually been doing their work, then probably the conflagration could have been controlled, the number of deaths could have been reduced, and certainly it would not have been in this proportion.
Okay, so Asha, I'd like, I can't, Asha, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I was just adding to what our guests are saying. In a right situation, we expect police to work wonders, but police is ultimately part of the government. Somebody has to order, somebody has to convey the order. It all takes time, and it's very easy blaming police. But I personally would love to blame politicians. Why? After the Kawal incident, if politicians were well-meaning, they would have come and been able to stop those panchayats, those jati panchayats, what they call.
Mahapanchayat.
Yes, they played a very dirty role in the entire in flaring up passions. And my information is, and I've met a couple of people like that, a lot of people are missing. Most of them have been drowned in the river there, I'm told. So So that happened, near the panchayat location. A couple of women I met whose husbands are missing. So they say our husbands would take that route and they are missing. One person's cycle was retrieved, but the person he's missing. That lady is not even getting the relief. So no politician worth his salt came to the spot and tried to kind of contain the damage. I would blame politicians more and less the administration, because administration is there to only carry out orders, and in government, giving an order, conveying it, taking it, executing it, it all takes time, and we as citizens very conveniently would love to blame police and administration.
Okay, okay.
There's one more thing which I'd like to bring in here, is that apart from the politicians and the police, there are also the local leaders who are actually milking off the situation.
We had fake videos and on WhatsApp and stuff like that.
And in particularly in Godhra, I found the people who were running the camps, they were actually stealing things which were coming for the camps.
Yes, yes.
When 3 bags of cement, 3 bags of wheat would come, 1 bag would go to his house, and 2 bags would only reach the camp, or 1 bag would reach the camp, and 1 bag goes to the market, and 1 goes to his house.
Yeah, in
So
fact,
things like this were happening, including the clothes which were coming for distribution. You see, I found I have it in my film where we interviewed and we were trying to find out what was being given in terms of clothes to the children, to the women who were standing in the queue and giving it and receiving it. They made an entry, 3 kapda, and the lady comes, takes them out, and then she's crying, "Main kya pehnungi?" Because 2 of them are dupattas.
oh,
And there's no salwar. So things like this. Now, what is the point? In what kind of a combination are you giving them? You are giving them kapda, 3 kapde, but how is that 3 kapde going to be of any help?
yeah. I mean, when you have these rehabilitation centers coming up, they normally turn into shops because someone or the other uses that. Are you have you focused something on rehabilitation or the role of the administration in that? In your film?
See, the film was already, we covered so many incidents that it is already, have become quite long. But we have shown the condition of the victims living in the camps.
Current condition?
Current conditions also. And we have seen that all these camps are raged by the administration, and people are still, they have they have come back again, and they have again put their tents over there. So and now the local Muslim leaders who first gave shelter to them on that land, they are also not helping, because they have whatever they could got from the people. Yes. So they are also running out of patience, and whatever food grains, whatever support they were getting, they hoarded it, and we heard from people that they are selling it to in the market, that stuff in the market. So that is the irony, their own people are also doing this to them.
But then, I mean, did you see, was there any ray of hope? I mean, when you, after that, now that you almost shot the whole film, is there any, positive message or a ray of hope that you see coming out of your movie?
See, the only positive message is that these victims, they have started resettling themselves. They have got all their, government has given them muavza, which is 5 lakh for those who are displaced, and 12 lakhs for those whose, any member died lost life. So with that money, they are building up their lives, and they are saying, according to them, they are, if those people who are able to get the land, they are very happy, because now they are out of fear, they are living between their own people. But one really sad thing that has come out is that ghettoization of this place has started happening.
Yeah. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, because Muzaffarnagar, people were living peacefully, both the Hindus and Muslims. As she said, that these Muslims, there was a symbiotic relationship between them. In fact, Jats of these villages, they are also not happy. Now they are realizing, they have to go on their own, they have to do all their work in the fields on their own. So now they are realizing the importance of these people.
Okay. We have very little time. I'll just like to bring in Asha. Your last comments?
no, I would wish that there was more peace building efforts in places like that, and there was more monitoring of relief, and there were some norms for relief, because as people have pointed out, the conditions in camps is very bad, and there is no monitoring of relief. These people have been virtually left to fend for themselves. Particularly women, I'll say, they have no say in either deciding the fate of families, what they should do, and the condition was the worst when I visited the camps there.
Okay. Sir, I'd like to bring you in films like these, like what Meera is making. What is the end message that you think that should go out? I mean, should it be the healing touch? Or, I mean,
I think you see, one of the things that should come out of the film is that is basically to try and prevent such reoccurrences, and to try and give them the message that it is not helping anybody. Both parties get victimized. The entire economy gets is torn apart, and the livelihoods of so many people, and women and children particularly, are all in a bad shape. So I think that's the message that should come out, that that we should try and
the futility of
the
riots.
futility of the whole thing, like the futility of war.
Yes, yes.
So I think that's what it should be, and there should be government should take there should be a watchdog over there. I mean, local watchdogs should be there to make sure that such things don't happen again.
Okay, Meera, last words. What when do we see your movie, and what is the final message that you would like to give?
Yeah, our film is coming very soon, maybe within 4 or 5 days.
Wow.
It will come, and its first screening is at Prithvi Theatre, Bombay. So we'll be releasing it in all over India, and the message that comes out of it is that the spirit of those victims. If you see in the end of the film, they're still building up their lives, and people should get motivation from them, that despite having so many problems, they're still hopeful about life, they're still positive that something will happen. Their days will become more better as the time passes by. Yes, yes.
A political party's film.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you, Asha, for joining
Thank
us,
you.
and thank you, Meera
Thank
and Divakar sir, for joining us. So with that, we'll come to the end of our conversation. But the movie is going to be out soon, and we hope that movies like this can provide the sort of healing touch, or reaching out to each other, so that the futility of having rights comes out, and people understand that in the larger context, it is them who are going to be the losers. But conversations will carry on India Post Live. You can also join us if you want at India Post Live. Just log in and be a part of the conversation. You can also reach out to us at a Twitter handle @India Post Live, or add #India Post Live to your tweets, and we'll get back to you. Well, conversations will continue, and thank you so much for watching.